Yeah, yes, so today this video we're going to do a reaction to JTVideos Rebooted MCU PS5 Part 3, which is called Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, I'm very excited about Guardians of the Galaxy, but it's not real Guardians of the Galaxy. I said JT remake Guardians of the Galaxy here. Right, so before the video, I was just trying to get a reaction video because I hate when I fall asleep. But which is clearly not good for me. So right now we're going to do the video and we're going to make sure that thumbs up and you do subscribe. We got everyone 100 subscribers, so yeah. So 1, 2, 3 reaction.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Rebooted MCU. Today we are here with Rebooted MCU Phase 5 Part 3. Now before we get started, you might have seen in my community tab that we are on the road to 1,000 subscribers. And we are inching closer and closer every day. But with this final stretch coming up, I want to encourage everyone to make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. About 72% of recurring viewers on the channel are not subscribed, and if all of those recurring viewers hit the subscribe button right now, we would easily be at 1,000 subscribers. It helps me and the channel out a bunch if you do, so go ahead.
Everyone that's subscribed to today's video, he's my favorite YouTuber. Yes.
Check your subscription status, and with that being said, we have a action-packed episode today, so let's go ahead and jump right in. The third project of Rebooted MCU Phase 5 is Guardians of the Galaxy. The movie opens up on the planet of Sneep, home of the alien species, the Sneepers, as we see Peter Quill, aka Star-Lord, played by Chris Pratt, preparing his weapons for battle as he walks through an area filled with brush. Quill hits his earpiece and says, "Drax, do you have visual on the area?" We cut to see Drax the Destroyer, played by Dave Bautista, walking a few feet away, who says, "Yes, we are coming up on it, but I do not get why I have to wear this stupid, uncomfortable communication device. I am a warrior, and any good warrior knows that communication slows down the battle. Because if you die, we lose our muscle. Simple as that," says Richard Ryder, aka Nova, played by Glenn Powell, who is flying above the area. "Yes, it is true. I am the most powerful here. But why is my skill being wasted on such a mundane task like this?" "I told you. Dib told us that he has information about Gamora's whereabouts, and if we clean up this little infestation for him, he'll give us that location." "I thought that Gamora was a fruit." "What? How dense are you?" says Nebula, played by Karen Gillan, who is walking at a different part of the area. "She is my sister. I told Quill that I would help out the Guardians of the Galaxy as long as he helped me find her. And, well, he's keeping his promise." "What can I say? I'm a man of my word. Now, remember, this brood youngling was released here accidentally by a Sneeper zoologist. They can multiply rapidly, so be careful. I have no clue how many we're going to have to deal with." "As long as we don't deal with these brood like they did in that movie Ryder showed us the other day. The one where they freed that Akanti." "Free Willy? Dude, that was a whale. And, never mind. Anyways, this is the field, Pete. Stay sharp." We watch as Star-Lord stealthily walks onto the field and uses his helmet to survey the ground, when suddenly, hundreds of brood begin popping up out of the ground and leaping towards Star-Lord, who screams, "Okay, Guardians, here we go." We watch Star-Lord hit a button on his Walkman as Mr. Blue Sky by Electric Light Orchestra begins to play, as we watch the Guardians of the Galaxy fight the brood. Star-Lord uses his element gun to stop the threat, while Drax and Nebula use their physical strength to defeat the brood. Nova flies in the air and uses the Nova Force to shoot energy blasts at the brood, and after a bit of fighting, we watch as the four stand together in the field surrounded by hundreds of dead brood as the title card appears. We cut to a few minutes later as we watch the group returning to the main industrial town of Sneepers. As they walk into town, Nebula scoffs. "I've always heard these Sneepers are all a bunch of imperialists. They had no problem conquering smaller planets in order to prove their superiority." "Yeah, well, you don't have to agree with what they do. We just did them a favor, and in return, we're going to find your sister." "I just don't want to end up a pawn for an imperialist once again. My father is gone, I don't want to become an agent for someone like him ever again. And there are certainly more like him out there. Point taken. But hey, Dib-Deb's hut is right over there. Come on, we can discuss this later. We watch as the group enters the dwelling of Dib-Deb, played by Anthony Kerrigan, who greets the group as Peter explains that they successfully solved the Sneaper's brood problem. Very good, very good. The Sneapers are forever in the debt of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Yes, all well and good. Now, give us what you promised. What my friend is trying to say here is you told us you had information about the whereabouts of the one who calls herself Gamora. Ah, yes, of course. Well, the one who calls herself Gamora made a stop at a spaceport about 2 rotations ago, saying she was heading to the location Planet X, home of the Flora Colossi. But that's about where the good news ends. Explain? You need me to tell you why you shouldn't go anywhere near Planet X? It is close to the planet they call Counter-Earth, home of, well, the one who made himself a god. The one who made himself a god? Yes, he's one of the most powerful beings in all the galaxy. And besides that, incredibly dangerous. My source tells me Gamora was heading to find someone who might have information on this individual so she could bring him down. Now, sorry, my friends, I'm out of information. Have a nice day. As we watch the group exit the hut, Drax chuckles. Ha! A man who made himself God. Someone's ego needs to be put in check. Yeah, but how come none of us have ever heard of this guy before? Do we know what we're even getting ourselves into going to find Gamora? Guys, look. Let's just get on the Bowie, head to Planet X, get Gamora, and head out before anything happens. I made a promise to Nebula, and I intend to keep it. So, let's go find her sister. The group nods as they head towards the Bowie. We cut inside the Bowie as we see Nebula looking outside one of the many windows in the ship as Dance Little Sister by the Rolling Stones plays in the background. We watch as Peter walks up to Nebula and asks if she's okay. Yeah, thanks. I'm not good at showing emotions. My father tortured us to ensure that we'd not be weakened by attachment to anything or anyone. But I've slowly started to relearn what it feels like to care. Thanks to you and Johnny and, well, even Gamora. I don't know what this reunion is gonna look like. This is my sister, but not the same one who I knew, grew up with, fought against. I'm not quite sure what's gonna happen when we find her, when I meet her again. Hey, listen, I know what it feels like when you have a family member and they just leave. I would do anything to see my mother, or Yondu, again. But once you have that bond with someone, it doesn't go away. Trust me, you and Gamora have something that can't be broken, regardless of different timelines or universes or whatever. Nebula cracks a half smile and grunts as Ryder calls out to the group. Okay, guys, we're approaching Planet X and have begun landing protocol. Suit up. Ha! I sincerely hope these Flora Colossi are valiant warriors. I deserve a challenge worthy of my power. Dude, I'm pretty sure Flora Colossi are just like giant sentient trees. I don't think they're the warrior type. Anyone can be a warrior as long as they are willing to fight. Shut it, Drax. We are here to find my sister and get out of here. There won't be enough time for fighting. All right, everyone. We're here.
Weight loss. It's simple. As simple as move more. As simple as eat less.
As we watch the Bowie land and the Guardians exit the ship, we suddenly hear a creature screaming a short distance away. We watch as a group runs to investigate as we see Gamora, played by Zoe Saldana, push a green creature on the ground who continues screaming as Gamora screams. I know you are one of his creations. You need to tell me what you know. I don't know what you are talking about. Gamora? Nebula? Warrior! Drax! Ah! Okay. Can we all pause for a minute? We watch as everyone turns to look at Peter, who chuckles nervously. Alright, I had no idea that would work. But how about we all just come back to the ship and talk things through? Sounds like a plan? Nobody has to get hurt. Gamora grunts as she picks up the creature as the group heads back to the Bowie. We cut inside the buoy as we hear a message in a bottle by the police playing in the background as we see the creature scarfing down food as the group sits around the table in the main area of the ship. I can't believe he's eating all of the Zarg nuts. We can get more, Drax. Jeez. So, insectoid man thingy. What are you exactly? The creature's revealed to be Bug, played by Paul Dano, who explains that he is a creature from an area known as the Microverse. The Microverse? I'm sorry, but there's no way that's real. Wait, the Microverse? That is where Hank and Janet explored. That's the place we used to travel back in time. And how Father managed to drag me to this reality. Wait! You know someone who managed to traverse the Microverse? Where are you from? My planet was destroyed by my father, but if you're asking about the Microverse, we accessed it on planet Earth. Oh my! Earth? The home of the hero Janet? Janet? As in Janet? Janet Van Dyne? Yes! She's the mighty hero of Earth! Okay, dude. I'm confused. Can you walk me through how you got here if you're from some place called the Microverse? Bug explains that he was a former member of the Micronauts, a group of failed experiments created by a mad space scientist who thought that the species he created were failures. So he constructed a microversal entry point and threw his rejected experiments into the Microverse. Unfortunately, an evil creation named Baron Karza began wreaking havoc on the Microverse, which is what led to the formation of the Micronauts team. But despite their combined efforts, they could not overcome Baron Karza. That was until a hero, Janet, came from Earth and attempted to help the group out, but not even she provided enough power to defeat him. So instead, she had the idea to construct a microversal entry point of her own for the group to escape and find backup to help fight Baron Karza. Unfortunately, Janet's design was flawed and the microversal entry point did not have a singular exit, meaning that when the Micronauts would attempt to exit the Microverse, there was no clear indication where they might end up. Bug was the first to exit, but as he left, Baron Karza attacked, destroying the microversal entry point and leaving Bug as the only member of the group to escape. I ended up at a spaceport and decided to run away before that green one decided to hunt me down. I came here to not only seek help for my friends, but also to warn of my creator. Why were you hunting him down, Gamora? I decided that after my father died, I would make it my mission to hunt down and destroy every known tyrant in the galaxy. And this creature was created by the one who sits atop my list. So, Bug, can you tell us, who's your creator? They call him the High Evolutionary. We cut inside of a laboratory where we see Herbert Wyndham, a.k.a. the High Evolutionary, played by Chuck Goody Awuji, running scans on the cocoon we saw at the end of Thor, Gods and Guardians, as Video Killed the Radio Star by the Buggles plays in the background. Suddenly watches Theo, played by Nico Santos, run to the laboratory and says, "How are the tests looking today, sire?" You know, Theo, the deities of old used to require their worshippers to kneel when they came into their presence. You should be thankful that I do not make this a requirement of entering my chambers. I am sorry, sire, but I came to check the progress on the perfect being. His vitals and genetics are top of the line, the best I've ever created. He will have supreme intelligence, the likes of which we have only seen once before. But his will, his emotion, that is something I will mold into my own, before I make more of him, of course. I'm very glad the Enclave gave you this idea, Master. The Warlock will certainly be a great first member of the Sovereign race. Hold on, Theo. What did you just say to me? I was just talking about the Enclave. Yes, as if they gave me this idea. The Enclave wanted to make the perfect human being, something that has only been done once, when I made myself a god. I was called an idiot for my experimentation with the X-Gene, even when Essex gained his abilities. I was called a loser, a madman, and I've toyed with the idea of this for years. And now I've finally done it. And you think I would follow the Enclave and limit my creativity to a single human being? No. They didn't think big enough, and I, as their god, laid judgment on them. And now, the Sovereign will be born with the Warlock being their first, and I will be the god of the perfect beings in the galaxy. I'm sorry, sire. I'm a fair god, Theo. I'll spare you this time, but don't speak such blasphemy again. Now, be gone. Out of here. Oh, and don't forget to feed the abomination. He is an absolutely abhorrent creation of mine, but he still deserves a meal. Theo gulps and walks away as we see the High Evolutionary return to running scans on the cocoon. We cut back on the Bowie where we see the group standing in shock after hearing Bug recount his experience with the High Evolutionary. I was one of the lucky ones. Tick. He used to just throw his rejected experiments into the microverse, but now, tick, he kills his creations, starts over, and the cycle repeats, and he won't stop, tick, until he gets what he wants.
100% medical grade olive oil from Otex is now available in a convenient spray.
أنا أم محمد أبو شنب زوجة الشهيد إبراهيم أبو شنب.
What is that? A civilization of beings with zero blemishes that view him as their god, tick. But as for me, I need to go to Counter-Earth to sneak into his lab, tick. He has a microversal entry point in there, and is the only way, tick, I can get back to my friends and rescue them from the microverse. And I need to get to Counter-Earth to stop this lunatic. The creature's right about him wanting to play God, and in the process of playing out his fantasy, he's killed thousands. Sounds like someone else I knew. Whoa. Hold on a minute. After everything you just said about how crazy this guy is, what makes you think we can stop him? We might be slaughtered. Well, I'm going with my sister. If you knew our father and the complex he had, I can't allow someone like him to continue without consequence. Ha! I agree with Nebula. This man sounds like he will be a valiant challenge, and I am in need of a good fight. I hate to say it, Rich, but we are the Guardians of the Galaxy. And regardless of what challenge is out there, the galaxy needs someone to protect it. And hey, if we all die, at least we'll die in the manner worthy of a group formerly led by Thor. Right?
I feel like, then so, I feel a bit sad about Thor dying hurt, and then the daddies. Remember last PS4, yes. Wish Thor was here. I see shame.
Looks at the group and sighs. Okay, fine. I'll chart the course to Counter-Earth then. Here, I have the coordinates. Let me help you. It's only one jump away. As Ryder and Gamora walks away, we watch as Nebula and Peter walk to the cockpit as Nebula looks to him and says, "Thank you, Peter." Hey, I'm a man of my word, and besides, it looks like heading to take this guy down sort of appeases everyone. Okay, Pete, we're ready to go. All right, everyone, hold on. We watch as the Bowie lifts off and blasts into a jump point as the group heads to Counter-Earth. As the ship exits the jump point, we see a view of Counter-Earth. Peter gasps and says, "Oh my gosh, it looks just like home." Suddenly, alarms begin sounding within the ship as Ryder shouts, "Hey Pete, we're being boarded, but I have no idea how." Suddenly, we hear the latches to the entrance wing of the ship being torn open as gas floods the ship as everyone on board begins to feel woozy, begins to pass out. As they do, we hear a voice that says, "Now, Groot, get 'em! Tie 'em up!" We watch as Peter slowly regains consciousness as we see Peter along with the other inhabitants of the Bowie tied up on some sort of new spacecraft. Where the heck am I? I am Groot! Rocket? I think they are waking up. He watches a raccoon runs into the room holding a large gun and says, "All right, you, why the heck are you all trying to gain entry to Counter-Earth? I'm supposed to be keeping guard of Counter-Earth, so you'll better start talking or I'm gonna blast your heads clean off." Wait, Peter, is he a raccoon? Don't you call me a raccoon? I was made to be perfect, like my father does with all of his creations. As we watch Rocket activate his gun, Bug screams, Whoa, tick, made perfect. You are also a creation, tick, of the High Evolutionary?" He watches the raccoon drops his gun and walks up to Bug. "How dare you call my father by his name like that, with such disrespect?" "No, tick, I was created by him as well. I got branded. You know, he does it to all of his creations, tick. My number is 01M79. You can see it on my neck." The raccoon looks at Bug's neck and sees the branding left by the High Evolutionary. He stops and says, I'm 89P13. Lila is 19H82. You really are one of us. And I mean you no harm, Tick. So please, let us go. We can talk peacefully. We cut to the group sitting around the ship as Cats in the Cradle by Harry Chapin plays in the background. The raccoon is revealed to be Rocket Raccoon, voiced by Bradley Cooper, and his friends Lila the Otter, voiced by Lady Gaga, and Groot, voiced by Vin Diesel. Rocket reveals that he and Lila were experiments of the High Evolutionary involved in Batch 98, the batch that would turn out to be the original inhabitants of Counter-Earth. The High Evolutionary's 98th attempt at creating a perfect society. However, the High Evolutionary instructed Rocket and Lila to move to patrol duty after the creation of Batch 99, who now inhabit Counter-Earth. My father told me and Lila to play an important role, being the security officers of Counter-Earth. He is just the best. He made me to be the perfect creature. Hate to break it to you, Tick, but I was a part of Batch 31, and he just threw me into the microverse, Tick, when me and my species didn't live up to his expectations. I thought he started showing mercy on his failed creations after Batch 30. Nope, Batch 35.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, and by mercy you mean he killed those creatures who didn't meet the requirements of what he believed to be perfect. That's not a good father, you rodent. That's a murderer. Watch your tongue, lady. That's my father you're talking about. I am Groot. Okay, I'm sorry. What's the deal with Talking Tree over here? Oh, Lila and I picked up Groot on one of our short interspace trips. He doesn't speak like you and me. All he could say is I and am and Groot. Right. Regardless, Rocket, we need you to let us go down to Counter-Earth and talk with the High Evolutionary. You might think he is this perfect man, but trust me, nobody who has a heart kills his creations when they don't meet his expectations. Or maybe your pops just didn't love you like mine loves me.
I chose Wix for my business because of its massive scope for functionality and freedom of...
Listen here. I had a father like yours. He made me feel important until I messed up, and he beat me until I got better. He tortured my sister and tore her body apart as punishment. That's not love. It's hatred. If he truly loved you and all his other creations, he would never thrown Bug away or sent you up into space. Or heck, created a batch after yours. Please, Rocket, take us down to Counter-Earth. Trust me, he isn't the man you believe he is. I am Groot. Fine, you know what? Groot and I will shows you all around, but when I'm right and he wants to kill you all, you can't stop him, and if he asks me to kill you, you can't stop me. Got it? Yeah, sure. Thanks, Rocket. All right, Lila, start the landing procedure. I'm gonna take these folks to see Father. Okay, Rocket, if you think it's a good idea, we'll do it. He watches Lila take control of the ship as it begins to descend onto Counter-Earth. We cut back inside the laboratory of the High Evolutionary as we see him standing with Theo and Vim, played by Miriam Shore, as they stand and watch the cocoon glowing as we hear an ominous noise coming from inside the cocoon. As the High Evolutionary screams, "He is hatching, the first member of Batch 100. Theo, Vim, please keep him stable. The Warlock is upon us." We watch as the High Evolutionary, Theo, and Vim scramble around the laboratory as we see them working on various computers. We watch as suddenly all the computers begin to spark as the room turns pitch black. As Starman by David Bowie begins to play, Adam Warlock, played by Will Poulter, emerges from the cocoon and looks around the room. High Evolutionary begins to laugh hysterically and says, "Adam, the Warlock, the first member of Batch 100, the first of the Sovereign. You know who I am, yes?" "My master, the High Evolutionary." "Yes, very good, Adam." He watches the High Evolutionary begins to examine Adam as he asks him questions. "Tell me, Adam, what is the strongest metal known to man?" "Tungsten." "Yes, very good. Tell me, how many atoms are in the known universe?" "The exact number is unknown, but it could be anywhere between 10 to the 78th power and 10 to the 82nd power." "Exactly correct. Now the final question, and the most important. what is your purpose in life? To serve the High Evolutionary and do his bidding. The High Evolutionary squeals with excitement. Theo, Vim, I did it! The perfect being, physically impeccable, heightened intelligence, and his will is my will. As High Evolutionary is celebrating, Theo looks at a computer pad and gulps. Sire, we have an issue. High Evolutionary glares. Theo, this better be important. You are on thin ice. I'm sorry, sire, but it appears 89P13 has brought outsiders onto Counter-Earth, and they're approaching the laboratory as we speak. Theo shows High Evolutionary the screen, which shows Rocket and the group walking around Counter-Earth. High Evolutionary chuckles and turns to Adam. You know, Adam, every god has their angels. You are mine, and your first order is to go stop that group we just saw on the screen. Let's see what you are capable of. Adam Warlock nods as we watch him fly off as the High Evolutionary chuckles. Theo, prepare for the planet to be erased. We can move on to having our full focus be on the creation of Batch 100. Theo gulps and walks away as High Evolutionary walks to the window to watch Adam. We cut to Counter-Earth as we see the group walking around, looking around the city as we see humanoid animals walking around doing daily tasks, talking, and even getting into arguments. Peter looks to Ryder and says, "This is creepy. It feels exactly like Earth. Yeah, I can't believe someone made all of this and has destroyed thousands of creatures like this before. I told you, he is sadistic. Tick. Wait, what's that?" Suddenly we watch as Adam Warlock flies into Bug, punching him repeatedly and throws him into a building. He turns to the group as Peter takes out his element gun and screams, "All right, Guardians, I don't know who this guy is or where he came from, but let's stop him." As Hold the Line by Toto begins to play, we watch as Adam Warlock begins fighting with Groot, Gamora, Nova, Nebula, Star-Lord, Rocket, and Drax, as he is easily able to overpower all of them. Drax is able to put up the best effort against Adam before he eventually is beaten to the ground. We watch as Bug picks himself up and walks back towards the battlefield as suddenly we hear clapping as we watch the High Evolutionary walk into the street and says, "Good, very good, Adam. You handled these pests without even breaking a sweat." We watch as Peter struggles to get to his feet and says, You are the High Evolutionary. We're the Guardians of the Galaxy, and we're going to put an end to whatever the heck this is. Well, you certainly did a wonderful job so far. 8 of you couldn't even stand up to one of my creations, but I must admit, I can tell you are the person with authority out of this lot. I don't typically welcome counsel with lower beings, but I'm feeling generous today after the creation of Adam, so come, let's chat. And 89P13 and 01M79, come along as well. Peter gulps as we watch Bug and Rocket join him walking behind the High Evolutionary and Adam as they head inside the High Evolutionary's lab. Ryder manages to get to his feet and says, "Careful, Pete. We got your back if you need anything." "No worries, guys. I'll be right out." Ryder watches as the 5 enter the building. We cut inside the High Evolutionary's lab as we see Peter, Bug, and Rocket standing around as we watch Adam walk beside High Evolutionary as he heads to his computer. Rocket clears his throat. "Father, I was trying to tell them that you aren't a bad man. 89P13. What have I said about you calling me your father? I am your god, and regardless of anything, I wouldn't ever call myself the father of a creation as pathetic as you unlovable rodent." Rocket cowers as High Evolutionary turns to Bug and says, "And you! I threw you and your kind in the microverse. How did you escape?" "I got help from someone. Tick. From Earth. An Earthling. Like this one here. Right. Like humanity has evolved that much since I left. And you're Tick. You're the annoying imperfection I couldn't correct. You are unperfected garbage that I will dispose of shortly." Whoa! Hold on there. You're from Earth?
Life is full of big occasions, but sometimes it's these moments in the here and now that are just as special. So savor them together with the delicious multi-layered experience
before I became a god. My vessel of flesh was formed on Earth and given the name Herbert Wyndham. But I outgrew it, experimented on myself, fixed the defects with humanity, and made myself perfect. Now, I am the High Evolutionary. So please, tell me, worm, why come to my planet? Well, my name is Peter Quill, leader of the Guardians of the Galaxy. We're a group that stands up for those who don't have anyone else to protect them. And it seems like you are the epitome of everything we stand against. I not only came here to stop you, but to help these two out. This one, his name isn't 01M79. His name is Bug. And he's going to use your microversal entry point to rescue his friends in the microverse. And this raccoon isn't 89P13. His name is Rocket. And I think I have already accomplished what I wanted him to see, showing him how evil you truly are. High Evolutionary scoffs and turns to Bug. You want to use that microversal entry point there, do you? Bug turns to look at the microversal entry point sitting in the lab as High Evolutionary closes his fist, crushing the device with his gravity manipulation. He laughs and turns to Peter and says, Well, you and your little team are out of luck, and you failed. Nobody can stop me. And even if you wanted to, you would have to get through Adam first. But regardless, you are lucky in a way. My judgment will be laid on this land shortly, and I will start working on Batch 100, my truly perfect creations. Wait, I thought we were your perfect creations. High Evolutionary begins laughing hysterically and screams, You? You, my perfect creation? You can't perform calculations within a matter of seconds. You are a little, creepy, ugly nobody. How could anyone possibly love you? But more importantly, you have free will. Adam has only one purpose, to serve my will, because I am perfect and my will is what matters. I'm ashamed to call you or that green freak over there my creations. You are all mistakes. And now, Counter-Earth will be destroyed in a few minutes, and you will all be destroyed along with it. Wait, what? I view it as an act of mercy. And since you and your little team want to challenge me, you can watch firsthand how truly outmatched you are as your miserable lives end by my hand. High Evolutionary picks up a walkie-talkie and says, Theo, start the detonation process and release Man-Beast as well. We've kept him trapped up all his life, and I feel like it's time for him to roam free. And he'll also give our guests here a more painful end to their life. Peter turns to Bug. Let's rush him now! High Evolutionary unleashes an energy force field that knocks Peter, Bug, and Rocket out of the building. As they crash out of the window, we watch as Peter activates his jet boots and catches both Bug and Rocket as he lands safely on the ground, outside of the High Evolutionary's lab. We watch as Ryder, Gamora, Nebula, Drax, and Groot run up to the group to check on them. We suddenly watch as explosions begin going off around the planet, as it's the end of the world as we know it, and I Feel Time by Rem begins to play in the background. What the heck is going on? Screams Gamora. The High Evolutionary is going to destroy the planet. He is moving on to his next batch of new creations and is wiping out this one. I can't believe it. He hates me. I'm a monster. I don't deserve to be loved. He's right. I should just die along with this planet. I am Groot. Look, we need to get off the planet. This place is going to blow sooner than later. Wait, we can't. Tick. All these innocent creatures are going to die. Tick. I'm not going to let that happen. Not anymore. Ha! I respect the Bug's courage. We will fight whatever battle is necessary to save the creatures. I think what he means is that we need to find a way to transport the inhabitants of Counter-Earth off the planet before it blows. Yeah, but how are we going to do that? We don't have anywhere to transport all these creatures to. Wait. Yes, we do, Pete. Xandar. It's barren right now, yes, but it has plenty of room for these creatures. Okay, awesome. But how are we going to get them there? Wait. Rocket, can you call Lila down? I can pilot the Bowie, and we can use the ships to help get as many off the planet as we can before it blows. I can go to the port. Tick. There will be additional ships there as well. Tick. That way we can transfer more. Perfect. Let's start rounding them up. Guardians, let's go. We watch as Rocket uses a communication device to tell Lila to fly the ship down to the planet. But as we watch Bug attempt to run off, we suddenly hear screaming in the background as Bug stops in his tracks and gulps. Guys? As the group turns to look, they see a giant creature devouring inhabitants of Counter-Earth. He has the head of a wolf, and he snarls at the group as he turns to them. Food. Beast. Hungry. What the heck is that thing? Well, I'd venture to guess that is the man-beast old RoboCop was talking about earlier. The creature is revealed to be Man-Beast, voiced by Tony Todd, who snarls, Beast been locked up for years. Beast hungry. Beast hunt. Beast kill. Okay, new plan, screams Peter. Nebula, you go get the Bowie from Lila and start getting civilians on board. Bug, you get the ship from the port and do the same. Rocket, head with Bug and help him out. Drax and the rest of us will fight this thing. We gotta hold him off as long as we can, because this planet only has a few minutes left, and you guys gotta get as many loaded up as you can to transport off before this place blows. But I've never done anything useful before. I can't help. I'm not a warrior. I'm not a hero. Anyone can be a warrior, as long as you're willing to fight. And besides, you're a member of the Guardians of the Galaxy now. It's our thing. Rocket nods as Smoke on the Water by Deep Purple begins to play as we watch Star-Lord, Nova, Drax, Gamora, and Groot fight Man-Beast, while Lila, Nebula, Bug, and Rocket help board as many inhabitants as they can onto their vessels to transport them to Xandar. We cut inside the High Evolutionary's lab as we see Adam Warlock watching the Guardians of the Galaxy fighting Man-Beast. High Evolutionary laughs and says, "Those fools actually thought they can stop me. They must learn that when a god makes a decision, nobody can counteract his will. Will. That is what I have been thinking of. From my understanding, these creations all have a will of their own. They make their own decisions, mistakes or proper. They choose to stand up to you. Yet, you say I am the perfect being. If having the will to make decisions freely is a trait of these creatures, where is my free will? Adam, there is no free will. It's a fiction created by fools with a small mind. There's only my will and how far I will allow you to go. That is what makes you perfect, and will make your entire race of sovereign perfect. You follow my will. I am perfect, and therefore, you all, as my followers, and those who believe in my message, my goals, will be perfect by following and doing exactly what I say. I don't like watching these creatures die. They did nothing wrong. This is making me angry. Well, it is nice to know that you have emotions, but this planet's death is of no concern to you. You watch as High Evolutionary picks up his communicator and tells Theo to prepare to launch the laboratory off of the planet. As Adam stands unsure of what to do, High Evolutionary looks to him and says, "Oh, Adam, I forgot. I brand all of my creations, a sign that you are mine and will forever answer to me. Let's get you branded. I'm thinking your number will be 67F01. Warlock stops and glares at High Evolutionary. I have free will, not your will, and my will says this is all wrong. I will not stand by your side anymore while innocent creatures, and their people, your creations, die. Oh, grow up! Who cares? You have potential millions times greater than the garbage that live on this dying planet. Your God commands you. Stand down, or you will face my wrath. I will not stand for this any longer. I will stop you from creating and killing any more creatures. Come on then, try it. Let's go." He watches Adam Warlock flies at High Evolutionary as the two begin fighting around the lab, as Machine Head by Bush begins to play. We cut back to Counter-Earth as we see the ships getting filled as Rocket calls out to Lila, Bug, and Nebula. "Okay guys, this planet is about to blow. We gotta get out of here soon. Let's go get the others." We cut to see Star-Lord panting. His clothes are torn as Nova lies on the ground. Man-Beast screams as we see Gamora leap at him before getting hit away as she looks at Peter. We can't keep this up much longer. We cut to see Drax looking at Groot and says, "Magic Tree, you know what to do. I will end this now." Groot nods and screams, "I am Groot!" as he sticks his hands into the ground as branches form around Man-Beast, holding him in place. We watch as Drax runs at Man-Beast, leaps, and in one clean slice decapitates the monster as he screams in victory. "Ha ha, yes! Drax the Destroyer is victorious! I am the strongest in the galaxy!" As Drax celebrates, he watches Peter, Richard, and Gamora look on in horror as Richard says, I think I'm gonna be sick." We watch as the Bowie, along with Rocket Ship and Bug Ship, descends as Rocket shouts, "Come on, guys, this planet is gonna blow. We have as many as we can take. Let's get out of here." You heard him, Guardians. Let's get out of here. We only have a few seconds. We watch as Peter and the others hop in the various ships as they take off away from Counter-Earth. Back inside the laboratory, we see the battle between Adam and the High Evolutionary has destroyed most of the lab as Theo screams, "Sire, the launch controls have been busted! We can't get off the planet!" We watch as Adam begins beating the High Evolutionary into submission as the High Evolutionary lets out a cough and falls to the ground as he screams with his last remaining amount of energy. "I am the perfect being. How did you, my creation, do this? The only thing that makes beings perfect, as I have learned in my very limited time being alive, is that we are imperfect. Your attempt to become something that you aren't, a god, was your downfall." As Adam turns to walk away, the High Evolutionary screams, "As soon as I recover, I will hunt you down. I'll make as many soldiers as I can until you and those fools who defied me are wiped out." Adam turns around and says, "Then I guess I must ensure that you cannot do anything more. I'm going to end you now." As Adam begins consuming energy, High Evolutionary screams as Adam unleashes a giant field of energy which causes the screen to flash white. When the light clears, there is no remaining trace of the High Evolutionary, Theo, or the lab. We watch as Adam quickly flies off the planet, and as he zooms away, we watch as Counter-Earth explodes in a blinding light, leaving various pieces of debris floating in space. We cut to a few hours later on Xandar, the still barren planet from the destruction caused by Thanos, as we see Richard and Peter standing together. Richard nods his head. "You know, it's barren now, but I bet this place is going to stand for something once again." "Yeah, this place used to be a symbol of galactic law enforcement, but really, galactic protection. Hopefully we can make it stand for something like that again." Peter pats Richard on the back as we watch Peter walk through the streets of Xandar as we see the former inhabitants of Counter-Earth conversing with each other. We also see Drax showing his blades to Gamora and Nebula along with Groot sitting with Lila. Peter walks up to Bug and Rocket who are sitting together and sits with them. He turns to Bug and says, "Hey, sorry about your friends. Not being able to find a way for you to help them out. You know, it's okay, Tick. I have faith that they will be okay. And besides, Tick, I feel like I honored them, in a way, by making sure no other creatures had to end up rejected and abandoned like we were." Peter nods as he turns to Rocket. "I thought I was loved, but I'm a freak. My own creator doesn't love me. He never did. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. What is my purpose?" Peter pats Rocket on the back. "You know, I had a good friend who felt the same way as you for a while, like a failure. But he eventually figured things out and died saving Earth. He's actually the reason why I formed this team, Guardians of the Galaxy, to help protect those who couldn't protect themselves. I found my purpose, and I know that you will too, Rocket. And hey, I think you two are now officially members of the Guardians of the Galaxy. So it looks like we'll be doing some crazy adventures together, and I'm sure you'll figure stuff out along the way."
Okay.
A Guardian of the Galaxy, Tick. That does sound pretty nice. "Yeah, guess it's not bad, but the name could be a bit better, I guess." Peter rolls his eyes as we watch Peter, Bug, and Rocket join the other members of the Guardians as they stand in front of the inhabitants of Counter-Earth. Peter clears his throat and says, "Okay, everyone, we might not have much right now, but let's work together to rebuild this place and make it our new home. It will be hard, but we got it. We are the Guardians of the Galaxy, after all, and nothing is too big for us. Everyone cheers as Take the World Apart by Yusuf/Cat Stevens begins to play. As the Guardians, along with the creatures from Counter-Earth, begin to rebuild Xandar, the movie ends as text reading "The Guardians of the Galaxy will return" appears on screen. We have two post-credit scenes. In the first post-credit scene, we cut back to the wreckage from the explosion of Counter-Earth, as we see the High Evolutionary laying on a large piece of debris. As he coughs, "Disrespect me, embarrass me."
How can you be steps? Not that. Peter.
He had the audacity to think he killed me. You don't kill a god that easily. Suddenly, a creature flies onto a piece of debris nearby and says,
It's not only little ones that make a mess, or get really mucky, which is why Fairy made the new big one, with double the stain removal and still so soft and sensitive skin. The new big one from Fairy. For little messes and big messes. Always keep out of reach of children.
Weight loss isn't just about motivation. It could also be a medical issue. That's why 30,000 members are losing weight and gaining support.
"It looks like you could use some help there." The camera pans up to reveal a nihilist, voiced by Andy Serkis, as High Evolutionary chuckles. "What use does a god have with a giant insect?" "Well, as of right now, my body is functioning properly while yours isn't. I have a rod that makes me the master of my own army, and you are floating in space, defeated, while I come with an offer." "Point taken. Now, what is your offer?" "Your name has become known in the galaxy, especially from powerful parties who are interested in your abilities. I was visited by a herald of some powerful being who would like to meet with us about a mission. So you could either come with me to meet this individual or continue to float helplessly in space. Your choice." "As much as I hate to accept, I do. Take me to meet this creature." In the second post-credit scene, we cut inside a mysterious building as we suddenly see Francis Freeman, played by Ed Skrein, and CIA Director Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, played by Julia Louis-Dreyfus, walk into a laboratory as Freeman chuckles nervously. "I had no idea President Ross was going to send the director of the CIA to check out the Weapon X program. Oh, yeah. I wasn't going to miss our first soldier being created for anything. Now, what's his code name again?" "Well, we decided that if we called them by their real names, it would still give them this feeling of personal autonomy. So we decided to come up with code names. This first one's code name is Wolverine. He had mutant powers when he came in for the experimentation, but we fused the adamantium you found from that serpent crown with his skeleton, and now he's nearly indestructible. A super soldier that would make Captain Rogers blush." Sounds promising. But is there any way that we can check if he's truly as powerful as you say he is? Here, read this. I have an idea. He watches Val hands Freeman documents. As he looks through them, he says, "Hold on. I thought this guy was removed from the hunt list by President Ross himself. Do I look like President Ross to you? We want to test this weapon, right? And this guy is the best option we have to do it." We watch as Freeman walks up to the pod housing the man undergoing Weapon X testing. Freeman talks into the pod. "Wolverine, I know you can hear me. You will be released soon. When you are, your first mission is to hunt down Bruce Banner, a.k.a. the Hulk. He is a monster with unimaginable power. He will test how strong you really are. So get ready. This is going to be a fight for the ages." As Freeman steps away, we hear the sound of claws being exerted from inside the pod. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is Guardians of...
That's it, but Guardians of the Galaxy JTVideos Rebooted MCU PS5 Part 3. So yeah, if you enjoy the video, mention on the thumbs up and hit the subscribe. I can't be going to get Part 4 tomorrow. So yeah, it's going to be late. So we'll see you next time. Bye.